Being a prey, your food comes ready made. But being a predator, your ability to eat is contingent upon your ability to hunt down and capture your food. Top of it, team, Coach E. And it is time to leverage your life. And if you didn't know, your life is your business. And if you're not living the life you desire and deserve, it's because you're not minding your business. And if you're not minding your business, it may be because you don't know what your business is. And if that is the case, you're in the right place. Now, here, as always, our focus is to develop the individual so that they can be better in whatever they do. Because personal development is the cornerstone of entrepreneurship. So, though I focus on giving you keys and principles on how to be a better entrepreneur, the main key is to become a better you and to work harder on yourself than you work on anything else. Now, me, if you listen to me, if you look at my Instagram, you know I'm a big movie buff. So I use a lot of examples to get my message across with examples from movies. Some of my favorite movies are the underdog movies, like Rocky and Pursuit of Happiness, and movies with good storylines, good characters, good actors, but also like action movies, suspense movies, movies like Mission Impossible, James Bond. See, I'm a man's man, so I like movies with a lot of shooting, a lot of action, kicking, fighting. And it's not because I'm a violent person, it's because I like suspense. I like the adrenaline that's produced, or whatever the chemical is that's produced when I'm watching a movie and I see somebody in a situation that looks impossible to get out of, and I see how they get out of it, or I'm trying to find out how they're going to get out of it. The suspense of it is what I like. It's what I'm addicted to. So I like a good suspense movie. And one of my favorite ones is Mission Impossible. And in a certain scene, I don't remember the actual Mission Impossible it was. I think it was Rogue Nation. But in the beginning, Tom Cruise, who was Ethan Hunt, he is in some factory in some random city as usual, and he's on a cop, and he gets a knock at the door. So he grabs his pistol and he goes to approach the door to see who it is, because he's not expecting anybody to even know where he is. But there's only one person who always knows how to find him. We know who that is. That's the agency that he works for. So he gets the knock at the door, comes to the door, and when he answers it or opens it, there's a man standing. Now it's dark and it's raining, and he looks like he has some kind of like a mailman outfit on, but his face is covered by shadows. You can't really see who the person is for obvious reasons. Everything is based upon being anonymous in this movie. So he doesn't need to know who it is. He just needs to know what he's getting. So they always operate in code and symbols. So he doesn't just walk up and say, "Hey, Ethan, how you doing? I got something for you." He says a little riddle, and the riddle goes, "Fate whispers to the warrior, a storm is coming." And the warrior whispers back. And then Ethan is allowed to say what the response is. Now, contingent upon his response, he will either get further instruction or not. And this was a way of making sure whatever was transferred to the right person. So Ethan Hunt's response was, "I am the storm." So when he asks him, or when he gives him the riddle of fate whispered to the warrior, a storm is coming, and he says, "I am the storm," he gives him the documents, which is his mission, and the movie begins. Now, the thing about that whole scene is that little riddle was so profound to me. And the reason why it was so profound to me is because he didn't say, "I'm ready for the storm." He didn't say, uh, "Bring it on." He said, "I am the storm." And that's a whole nother level of self-awareness and consciousness. And I said to myself, how do I become the storm in my life? Because most of the time when we think about storms, we think about how we must protect ourselves and shelter ourselves from the storm. But this man said he was the storm. So I think that's a position of power. I think that's more of a predatory position, a proactive position, an audacious position. And me being the man that I am, I want to know, how do I become the storm? Especially when you're somebody who has high ambitions. to do great things. There's always this looming dark cloud, but you can't live or operate in fear. You have to be the one that induces the fear. I gave this example in one of my speeches about Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers, but let me just use Michael Myers for instance. In any of the Halloween series, when you see Michael Myers, how often do you see Michael Myers watch his back? How often do you see Michael Myers look behind him to see if somebody's coming? Even if it is somebody coming, he's so confident, he's so aggressive. He knows he's what people are scared of, and he knows that he's not scared of anything. So he don't give a fuck who's tracking him. He ain't watching his back. He's always slowly coming after his victim. And that's the mentality that I'm going after. I'm going after the mentality of I'm not looking behind me. I'm like the eagle. I'm flying so high, ain't nobody above me. I only could look down at what's below me. I'm not worried about anything being above me. And so, like Michael Myers, like the eagle, like Ethan Hunt, we have to be the storm. We have to be the storm in our life and stop waiting for storms to come. Stop looking like, oh, a storm is going to come. What am I going to do? I need to get my umbrella. I need to make sure I can get out of the cold. No, we need to be the storm. We need to be what people are afraid of. We need to be what people fear. I often say to myself that I am my worst nightmare's worst nightmare, or I am the fear, or fear fears me. Or I say things like I'm the boogeyman or I'm the big bad wolf. Well, why do I say things like that? Because I'm transferring and shifting my consciousness. Okay. I'm shifting my consciousness from a prey to a predatory type of mentality. Like I said, I put myself in a position where I said, if I'm Michael Myers, do I look behind me? No. Why I don't look behind me? Because I'm what everybody fears and I don't fear shit. So if I'm my fear's worst fear, if I'm my nightmare's worst nightmare, I'm not worried about my worst nightmare. My worst nightmare is worried about me. So you say, well, how can I become the storm? You're telling me to become the storm, Coach E, but you know you can't tell me to do something without telling me how to do it. So here you go. There's a couple of ways. There's many ways. But these are 3 ways that I have isolated on how to be the storm. And I spoke on them earlier, but I'm going to reiterate. One of the first ways, one of the most important ways to become the storm is you have to become a predator and not be a prey. Now, if you look at predators and you look at prey, there's certain characteristics in specifically how they eat that makes them significantly different. A prey does not have to hunt its food down. Antelopes, deers, grazing animals that are usually being preyed upon, they don't hunt their food. Their food comes ready made. They don't have to face any resistance when it comes to eating. So they don't have this ideal in their heads of urgency of I have to go and do something in order to eat. Their food comes ready made and it's plentiful. Zebras, it's plentiful. There might be a drought and they might have to travel to other locations to find food. But when they find it, there's no struggle or resistance. They just eat. They don't have to cook it. They don't have to kill it. They just eat. Now, a predator, on the other hand, a predator not only has to learn how to hunt his food, when he finds his food, he has to be fast enough, quick enough, and strong enough to capture his food and then kill it so that he then can eat it. The only thing he doesn't have to do is prepare it, but he has to hunt it down, he has to capture it, and then he has to kill it before he can begin to eat. So the predator has a different mentality when it comes to getting what he wants. The predator has to be proactive, which I'm going to get to in another part of this video, but the predator has to be proactive. He has to go out and get his eating. His survival is contingent upon his ability to be fast enough and strong enough to hunt down, to capture, and to kill his food. If he cannot do those things, he will not eat. He will be left to scavenge. And with scavenging, he has to get the scraps or he has to fight other animals for what they've killed and risk being killed. So it's always a struggle when it comes to being a predator to get what he wants. So the mindset of a predator is he has to be agile. He has to be quick. He has to be strong. He has to be fast. He has to be ready. He has to have weaponry. And when you're the storm, that's what you have to do. You have to be prepared. You have to be strong. You have to be agile. You have to be ready to attack because you're not getting this meal prep plan that the prey is getting where everything is just open for you. All you got to do is find it and you can just chow down. Nah, the predator has to hunt. He has to have a certain set of skills in order to eat, while the prey doesn't have to have any skill or ability to eat his food. I want you to think about that. Be a predator, not a prey. Second thing you need to have is audacity. Audacity. And I even put audacity above ambition. You want to be ambitious, but they're both nouns. But what I like about audacity is by definition, it means the willingness to take bold risk. So audacity is more aggressive. Even one of the synonyms for audacity is recklessness. So there's a level of recklessness to being audacious. You have to make bold claims, man. When Muhammad Ali would fight people or before he would fight people, he would make bold claims. That wasn't ambition, that was audacity. You know what I'm saying? That was him on his, I'm going to knock him out in the third round. That's a bold claim. That's a risk. Because what if you don't? Because there is a slight percentage and possibility that you may not. But he didn't let that stop him. He was audacious, but there was a reason for his audacity. The multiple hours, the endless hours of practice and preparation, of getting his body in shape, and of studying his opponent, that he became so confident that he was able to break his opponent down, first psychologically by telling him something that was kind of prophetic, but then doing it. And that set a precedence for every opponent he fought after. When he says something, he's going to do it. So now if he says something about me, I'm on the defensive to protect myself from what's about to happen. Now you're on predatory mode or prey mode where you're trying to defend off the predator. And now Muhammad Ali has become the predator because he's telling you, I'm going to knock you out in the third round. That's audacious. That's audacity. To be the storm, you have to have audacity. The next thing and the last thing I'm going to talk about you need to have is you need to be proactive versus reactive. This is very important. It's also has to do a lot with being the predator versus the prey because most predators are proactive. Okay, they have to go out to get their food. Most preys are reactive. You know, they don't have to do anything to get their food but go and eat it, but they have to always respond to an attack from a potential predator. So being proactive, what does it mean versus being reactive? When I have a car problem, I hate it, just like anybody else, because it's always an inconvenience. And when you take it to the dealer, you know that they're going to tell you something you don't want to hear. Like, you know, you got one issue that you're bringing it here for, they gonna volunteer information that you don't want, and you like, man, if I didn't know that, I wouldn't care about it. But now you told me that there's a leak here that I haven't seen. It's slow, but you need to deal with it now. And now you got to deal with it because it's on your mind, and you don't want the worst to happen. And what I realized is that I had the wrong mentality when it came to my vehicle. My mentality was always, I hope I don't get a flat tire. I hope my car doesn't break down. I hope I don't get stranded somewhere. But the fact of the matter is that that's gonna happen. Your car is gonna break down. May not be an extreme breakdown because if you're taking care of it, getting regular maintenance, it might not be extreme. But your car is going to break down. You're going to get a flat tire. You're going to be somewhere and you're going to be inconvenienced. So instead of having the mindset of, I hope this doesn't happen, you need to start telling yourself it's going to happen because the next thing that's going to be initiated is, how do I prepare for it? We have a tendency to take being proactive as being negative. We think, well, if I assume the worst, then prepare for it. I'm going to make it happen. But I just told you, things are going to take place, and it's not a negative. If you're constantly using something by nature of the fact that it's being used, there's going to be a certain level of wear and tear. So you have to expect a certain level of maintenance and repair to be involved with having this. A lot of people don't think about that when they purchase cars. Like, my daughter's gonna have a car now because she's turning 16, and all she's thinking about is gas and driving. But you don't understand that maintenance is another mandatory, and it's a definite expense that you're going to have in having a car. So you got, if since we buying it, there's no car note, but you got car insurance, you got gas, you got to keep the fluids up. The regular maintenance was going to probably be every 3 months, depending on how much you drive the car. But then you got other maintenance, the unexpected shit that's going to take place. You need to be prepared for that too. You don't need to live a life to where you think, oh, I'm never going to get into an accident, so I need insurance. I'm never going to, the whole thing about being a driver, the best drivers are defensive drivers. They drive for everybody else. They drive because they're always prepared for what the next person going to do. A lot of accidents don't happen because you're doing something wrong. A lot of accidents happen because somebody else is doing something wrong and you weren't prepared to respond to what they did. That's why I'm always looking in my mirrors. I'm not worried about me. I know how to drive. But the person behind me might not be paying attention. And when I stop hard, that person might not know and ran right into me. Or the person 2 cars ahead of the person in front of me might be doing some reckless shit. And the person in front of me might not be paying attention. And then I'm assuming that he's seeing what I've seen, he don't see it. So being proactive, it's not about being negative. It's not about saying the worst is going to happen. Being proactive is simply saying, I'm going to get ahead of my situation before my situation gets ahead of me. And that's what it is to be the storm. The storm ain't waiting for nobody. The storm ain't preparing for shit. The storm is what everybody's prepared for. The storm is what everybody's getting out the way of. So be the storm. Be the storm in your life. Be the storm when it comes to accomplishing your goals. Be the predator, be audacious, be proactive. This ain't no ready made situation. Success and greatness does not come ready made. You don't just walk up to it and consume it. You have to have a certain set of skills and abilities in order to acquire it. And then when you acquire it, you got to keep it. Think about the predator. When he catches that zebra, until he kills that zebra is going to fight for his life. That zebra is going to look for the one mistake that lion is going to make and allow him to escape. And whether he escapes with half a leg, whether he escapes with a gaping hole out of his neck, he's going to escape or try to escape as long as he has life in his body. So until you kill your prey, your dinner is not guaranteed. And it's the same with success. Until you have acquired it and learned how to maintain it, it is not guaranteed. Be the storm. Be the storm, people. Be the aggressor. Be a predator. Be proactive. Be audacious. That's how you get what you want out of life, not the other way around. That's my time. And as always, your life is your business. Start minding your business, man. Start handling your business. Start handling your affairs. Take it by the wheel. Stop being in the back seat. Stop wanting to coast. You know what I'm saying? Put that motherfucker in off road and get ready for them bumps. Get ready for them potholes. You know what I'm saying? Get ready for all that. And again, as always, don't be good. Be good at it.